Yeah, so a quick one. I want to talk about this tiny lens here. Yeah, this tiny lens here. It's a lens for micro four thirds cameras, and I've been shooting on micro four thirds cameras for quite some time now. I shot on the GH4, I've shot a little bit on GH5, and I'm currently shooting on the GH6. And so I have quite some experience with it. I've been shooting on these cameras for about 2-3 years, and I've enjoyed every bit of shooting with these cameras. And this lens here is one lens that has stayed with me through shooting through the GH4, GH5 and GH6, and I just want to talk about how fantastic this tiny lens is. What makes it special is the fact that it's such a small lens and it packs such amazing features. You see, just a small lens, very tiny lens. This can fit in the palm of your hands easily. It can fit into your pocket and all of that, and such a tiny lens but so much power. So this is the meke or meke, I'm not sure the pronunciation, but this is the meke f1.7 35mm lens for micro four thirds mounts, and I've been using it since I started shooting on the GH4 up to date. And this lens is pretty much kind of one of my best lenses in my stash or in my storage and all of that. And the reason why I love this lens is the amount of quality it gives, despite the fact that it's just a very small lens. There's a small cover here which it's kind of actually flimsy, and then it has a back cover here which is actually sturdy for the mount. But I'm talking about the build of this lens actually is all metal all round, except for the cap. It's metal all round. Very it feels like something quality when you hold this lens in your hands, and it actually has the weight too. So comparing this to other lenses, I have the Lumix 35-100 1442. This is actually heavy compared to them, and those ones are actually zoom lenses. And despite the fact that this is very small, it's actually a bit heavy compared to that, but it's still quite compact. It's a manual focus lens, by the way, and it's not too stiff, it's not too free, and it makes no noise while you're turning. Like I said, it's a manual lens. I love that it's manual because you have control over the amount of light you're letting in. So this at the back here is actually the aperture ring, and while this one in front here is actually the focus ring. And I love the position of that, this aperture. Then you can just set your focus with the one in front. So I love the fact that it's manual. It has no communication with your camera, so when you put it on, you basically do everything with this. The only thing you can change your camera that can probably affect what you get is probably maybe things like the ISO and white balance. But the amount of light you're letting in and the focus is done all on this lens with your aperture ring and your focus ring. Talking about the kind of quality of images that I get on this lens, I get fantastic images on this lens. I've used this lens on a lot of professional shoots. I've used it for weddings, I've used it for commercials, I've used it for product shoots, things like that, and it does perfectly well. Everything about this lens just speaks quality. The way the glass looks like, the fact that it's metal all around, everything is sturdy, and just feels good to hold. You can also put filters on this. I have filters that I use for this. I have ND filters that I put on this, especially when I want to shoot on when I want the aperture ring to be wide open, and I'm shooting in the sun, so to get that blurry background and all of that. It doesn't get the kind of blurry background that you get on something like full frame cameras or even APS-C cameras. But f1.7 on micro four thirds is not bad. You actually get some very good background blur with this, and I'm satisfied with the amount of background blur I actually get with this. I don't subscribe to that notion of shooting and then you just blur out a background to oblivion and all of that. There should be some character while you're shooting. However, there are situations where you want to have the background all blurred out. I don't have a macro lens, and so sometimes when I am on shoots and I'm using this lens and I want to kind of get like a macro shoot of something, I can couple with this lens in such a way that this is my Lumix GH4 here. So usually if I'm going to put this on the camera, I just put it on the camera, and then I can shoot and then do all I want to do with it like that. But there's this trick that I learned when I want to shoot macro, and get really close up stuff. I remove the lens and then I turn it the other way around, and then I shoot. The controls are still the same. The aperture ring controls the amount of light, the focus ring controls the amount, the focus basically. But with this configuration, although I have to hold it close to the I have to hold it with my hand, because there's basically no grip between the lens and the camera this way, so I have to hold it with my hand. But with this configuration, I'm able to get some very beautiful macro shots using this lens on my camera. And people have asked me that especially when I get shots or using this configuration, when I get some very, very close-up shots and everything, they ask me, oh, what kind of lens do you use there and all of that. Well, I just tell them that I used one of my tools. Well, I don't have any special tools I use for that. This is basically the trick I do. I just remove that, turn it over and then hold it and then get my macro shots. But this kind of thing, you have to be very careful, because if you're not firmly holding it to the sensor, dust can get on your sensor, the lens can fall down if you're not holding, if the grip is not strong and all of that. So you really have to be careful when doing that kind of stuff, using this lens. But by and large, I love this lens. I love the way it does. I love the kind of pictures it gives. I've used this for pictures, I've used it for videos. When taking portraits, I've actually used this to take a number of portraits, and the results are fantastic. I mean, very crisp and clear shots. Also for the video too, I've shot a lot of video with this, especially things like interview, headshots, things like that. This is a fantastic choice. It's close to kind of like the nifty 50 millimeters that we have on full frame and all of that, because the equivalent of this camera on full frame is actually 70 millimeters. And when I'm shooting in video on my GH6 using this lens, there's actually no crop on most of the modes. I think on all actually. I shoot 4K and 1080p most of the time, and there's no crop. So basically, I'm getting a usable amount of real estate when talking about space and all of that. I've even shot open gates, 5.7K open gates using this lens, and it's just fantastic. So you can see how it looks, using it with my GH4. The handling is fantastic. I love my GH4. I love the way it handles, and see just how natural this feels, how natural it looks. This is just, I just enjoy using this camera. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions about this, you can let me know. I'm not sure about the price of this, but I can put some links on about where you can get this lens online. But because when I got this lens, I actually got this lens with my GH4 when I got my GH4. So it was together with the package. I got it with 2 other lenses and all of that. And so I'll put links in the description of where you can get this lens. There are better lenses now, but I feel this is one cheap lens that can give you great results, especially when you're shooting on Micro Four Thirds. Micro Four Thirds lenses are generally cheap, but this is actually one of the cheapest when it comes to prime lenses that have very good quality, and in the Micro Four Thirds series. So that's all for now. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comment section. Thank you. See you in the next one.